Govinda ki jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Книга Кришна, Верховная Личность Бога.
So the book Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Глава 45.
chapter 45,
Кришна возвращает своему
Krishna
учителю.
recovers the son of his teacher.
Предыдущая глава называлась «Участь Камсы».
But the previous chapter was called The Killing of Kamsa. When Krishna
В предыдущей главе мы читали об этом.
kills Kamsa, and we were reading about it in the previous chapter.
Жизнь ждал этого момента.
So Kamsa had been waiting for this moment for his entire life.
Вся жизнь была полна его сильных беспокойств.
So his full life was actually filled with the fear, because he had heard the voice from the sky saying that you would die from the eighth son of Devaki. And since then, Kamsa has known it. But at this, he had the full power over the planet. He was the most powerful demon on the whole planet. He had organized his union, and everyone was just serving him, and he was controlling everyone. But since the moment when he learned that he would be killed by the eighth son of Devaki, so even though knowing it, he hasn't managed to do anything about it. So Kamsa still couldn't understand the way Maya was working. But at this, Yoga Maya herself has told Kamsa that Krishna has already come to this planet and you will be killed. And of course Kamsa has done a lot of bad things, because he started killing the little babies, newborn babies. So it was very cruel and severe. But eventually it has become known that something strange has happened in Vrindavana. No one was afraid of Kamsa. Everyone is happy. And no one is even thinking about Kamsa, about his power. Everyone was just enjoying life because Krishna was living there. And Kamsa, he got some news from Narada. So now Krishna was living in Vrindavana. So Kamsa once wanted to kill Vasudeva at the spot, but again something has happened. Meanwhile, Krishna was just playing in Vrindavana. All these lilas were described. Demons would die just every day from the hands of Krishna. No one was even worrying about it. No one was even frightened. But Kamsa, he was worrying a lot. So he's calling up Akrura, his devoted friend that is serving him. So he tells Akrura, go to Vrindavan and bring these two, Krishna and Balarama, because one of them is the one who's going to kill me. So knowing this, I want to kill him here. That's why I'm preparing the competition, so they must die during the competitions. Akrura said, yeah, that's a good plan, Kamsa. He said it just friendly, but no one knows if it's going to happen, because he knew the position of Krishna. So Akrura brings Krishna to Madhura, and of course they brought a lot of milk products, because this was kind of a celebration, and they don't know that Kamsa is preparing, is ready to kill them. And there was Yagya worshipping Shiva's bow. And then the celebration has started. The fierce elephant was supposed to kill Krishna. It was an insane, huge elephant. He was trained to kill Krishna. Kamsa had already dug out a deep well for the dead bodies of Krishna and Balarama. But before this, he had started seeing some bad signs in his dreams. For example, he saw himself beheaded in one of the dreams, and then he saw some holes in himself, and then he saw himself being naked with garlands. So all these signs, they were the signs of his death. And then when he came outside, he saw that all the trees had turned golden color. It's actually already happened. When Rama was asked the same question, he said that to one of the other people, that he said that it's a bad sign that you're gonna die soon. So we had already seen these signs in the past. So Balarama had killed everyone during these competitions. Everyone got very afraid. Some of them had just escaped. And Kamsa, he just couldn't understand. He couldn't tell illusion from reality. So Krishna just came up to his throne. Kamsa was just protecting him with a shield. He was very afraid. He was panicking. So Krishna just kicked his helmet off his head, took him by his hair, and threw him with just one hand to the wrestling arena. So Kamsa has just landed there. And then Krishna got on top of him and he was just beating him up until Kamsa left his body. So why are you laughing? Do you have pity for Kamsa? This is ecstasy, come on. When someone has to kill evil. It's important to kill ignorance. So when Krishna kills demons, he kills ignorance. Of course, it's not normal for people to kill each other. Even when you kill this physical body, this entity, it gets incarnated again because of this samsara wheel. He comes back again to this material world and he gets his revenge again. So Kamsa is done, he's finished. So now chapter 45. Krishna recovers the son of his teacher. So when Lord Krishna saw Vasudeva and Devaki standing in the reverential attitude, he immediately expanded his influence of Yoga Maya so that they could treat him and Balarama as children. Not a simple position is taken by Vasudeva and Devaki. They can't forget Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead because they saw everything. So he came out as in the form of a child, but instantly he got his four-armed form. He is son, but at the same time he is the God. And by his own desire, he had become their son. And that's the way they saw him. It's not like Krishna playing in Vrindavana. They didn't see him being God. They saw him as their son. See, so this rasa is a little bit different. It's also a parental rasa, but with a tint of servitude. So when Krishna killed Kamsa, Vasudeva and Devaki, they were watching all this with reverential attitude. As in the material world, the relationship existing between father and mother and children can be established amongst different living entities by the influence of the illusory energy. So by the influence of Yoga Maya, the devotee can establish a relationship in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is his child. This is the analogy. Even though you treat someone as a child, this is the influence of this material nature. We don't even pay attention to that. It just happens spontaneously. Baby is born and you have these relationships. His mother feels him. That is given. So this is called Maya. This is energy. It makes us feel this way. There are people that do not feel God and do not understand God. They have no faith in God. There's nothing to support on. There are no arguments, no logics. Logically, they see no confirmation in all this. Their imagination, anyways, does not give them the answer. There are some people that do not feel God, but they believe in Him. This is called religion. Any person that believes in God, he's considered to be a religious person. Probably he doesn't have all this knowledge, obvious knowledge. He might be hesitating from time to time. So a person is praying, but he doesn't know if his prayers are well received. He doesn't feel it. He's thinking to himself, oh, we'll see. There are some people that feel God. They feel Him by their intelligence, mind, and senses. Of course, they have faith. So they can act in this direction. So people feel in God, the will of God. They are acting not already only for themselves. So they don't ask for health or prosperity. I'm praying to you so that you can make my wishes come true, so that I'm sincere, honest, and a prosperous man in this physical world, so that all my relatives are happy, my enemies are dead, in this way. But when a person feels the will of God, he forgets about all his desires. So this Maya goes away. So he forgets about living just for his children. He understands that he needs to live just to fulfill God's will. He's got these very powerful senses. Even though it's very hard to overcome our senses for our relatives, the person in the material world attached to Krishna, he understands, he perceives his relatives differently under the influence of Yogamaya, but not Mahamaya. This relationship still remains, but the picture is different already. It is better than Mahamaya. Under the influence of Mahamaya, a person loves his relatives, and just because of them, he has some arguments with other people. You know what we say? I'm going to kill everyone for my son, for my country. So you see, this love is not full. Everyone is just talking about being patriotic, family traditions, just because of that. Because they're only attached to their nationality, to their children, husbands, wives, relatives. When Prophet Muhammad came, he said an interesting thing. When Islam was already accepted, he said that I had come to set you free from the lie of your ancestors, because they were confused. They were wrong. Because when he was saying it from the very beginning, people wanted to kill him, but then they accepted him. So just to lean on your family traditions, some other traditions, it's not perfect just because I feel it. You better see God with my senses. You have to develop these senses. So you see, the Supreme Personality of God, it becomes a child to someone else. Why? So that these people feel Him. So after creating this situation by his yoga maya, Krishna appeared with his elder brother Balarama as the most illustrious son in dynasty of the Sattvatas, very submissively and respectfully addressed Vasudeva and Devaki with the following words: My dear father and mother, although you have always been anxious for the protection of our lives, you could not enjoy the pleasure of having us as your babies, as your growing boys, and as your adolescent youth. You see, Krishna understands everything. He understands what his parents were thinking of. He understands that they weren't able to see his childhood, to enjoy his childhood. See, he totally dishonors them, and at the same time he loves them. He knows all your aspects, all your advantages and disadvantages, and at the same time he loves us. He totally disarms us. So by these words, Krishna indirectly praised the fatherhood of Nanda Maharaja and motherhood of Yashoda as most glorious, because although he and Balarama were not their born sons, Nanda and Yashoda actually enjoyed their childhood pastimes. By nature's own arrangement, the childhood of the embodied living being is enjoyed by his parents. Even in the animal kingdom, parents are found to be affectionate to their cubs. Being captivated by the activities of their offspring, they take much care for their well-being. So this is what decorates the life of parents. It's their children. So when they grow and just in front of your eyes, they do a lot of amazing things. So you have this very positive samskara out of it. So parents can be working just for that and overcoming their obstacles just because they have families, they're grown children. It's an amazing thing. So everyone loves watching the kids grow up. So being captivated by the activities of their offspring, they take much care for their well-being. As for Vasudeva and Devaki, they were always anxious for the protection of their sons, Krishna and Balaram. That is why Krishna, right after his appearance, was immediately transferred to another's house. Balaram was also transferred from Devaki's womb to Rohini's womb. So Vasudeva and Devaki were full of anxieties for Krishna's and Balarama's protection, but they could not enjoy their childhood pastimes. So you see, that's quite interesting, because Krishna gave them this opportunity. He has spent all his childhood with both Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and Vrindavana. So Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, they're big friends. One of them is Vaishya, the king of Vaishya, the other one is Kshatriya. And for Nanda Maharaj, Vasudeva was like a demigod, because he's got another education, different education, other gunas. He is surpassing him from the point of view of education. He looks more elevated because he lives in very rich castles. He knows how to use weapons. Nanda Maharaj, he's just a cow-herd man. He's taking care of cows. He looks more simple. But from the spiritual point of view, he is more elevated than Vasudeva. From the point of view of spirituality, Nanda Maharaj doesn't see God in Krishna at all. It's just my son. He's totally engulfed. His whole entity is engulfed by thinking that Krishna is his son. He says it doesn't matter either he's God or not, he's my son first of all. Yashoda is telling just the same. Great mystics, they see Krishna as the supreme soul. The ones who examine Vedanta, they see him as Brahman. What does Yashoda see? Her son. So when Yashoda, remember, she was moving Krishna in his cradle, the whole universe was shaking. All the demigods were thinking of like, what's going on? What's going on? Why is it shaking? It's just Yashoda was shaking Krishna in his cradle, baby cradle. See, no one can overcome this Maya. So these demigods, they get together, speculating either Yashoda is gonna catch Krishna. See, it's impossible to catch Krishna, especially to tie him up. He's the creator of everything, and then Yashoda is just chasing Krishna to tie him up. Of course she can't catch him. But the other demigods say, we don't understand anything, like all these relationships. Even Goddess Lakshmi, she cannot do it. Yeah, but then Yashoda just does it, and eventually Yashoda gets him, she catches him and ties him up. And then everyone thinks, who's Yashoda? Who's God? They're totally bewildered. See, Vasudeva and Devaki, they were not living in Vrindavana. They couldn't see all these lilas because they would start worshipping him and praying right away, and everything would just end up. Unfortunately, Krishna continued, being ordered by our fate, we could not be raised by our own parents to enjoy childhood pleasures at home. My dear father and mother, a man could not repay his debt to his parents, from whom he gets this body, which can bestow upon him all the benefits of material existence. So this is the real reason to respect the parents. So if you go away from the spiritual life, there is no higher sense of these relationships because you just suffer in this world. It's a fact. And you give birth to someone else just to continue suffering together with them. Other people, they cry when children are born. They understand that they're going to die. So it's like you are inviting someone else to suffer together with you. It's like, oh, baby boy, you order him, so don't run so fast, you may fall. Oh, be careful, don't get onto the car. So we're taking so much care of our children. We worry a lot. We understand how this world is dangerous, how much this world is dangerous. Can't you see it? Of course, the baby cannot survive without his parents. If he just goes out into the streets, there is a reason for that. Because we render our obeisances to our relatives, because they give us this physical body to realize who God is. So this is the real reason for that. So that's the real family, under the influence of Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya, not the illusion. Mama's going to protect me. How's she going to protect you if you catch some very serious disease that may cause a death for you? If there's no Krishna, there's no other way to survive other than just remembering your eternal relationships with God.
Согласно Ведам, душа, родившаяся в человеческом теле, имеет возможность исполнять
So according to the Vedic injunctions, this human form of life enables one to perform all kinds of religious activities, fulfill all kinds of desires, and acquire all kinds of wealth. Three things, you see, that a person can do. Religious, in the first place. Animals do not have it. Human form enables one to perform all kinds of desires. Animals that cannot even develop these abilities because people that live in other conditions and of course acquire wealth. Three factors for a person. Animals that don't have it. No religion, no wealth, desires. Well,
Только в
matter of
облике
fact, they just
человека
don't have this
душа
intelligence.
получает
That's the
все
point.
необходимое
And
для
only
того,
in
чтобы
this human
освободиться
form
из
is there
материального плена.
every possibility that one can get liberation from material
Человеческое
existence.
тело создается
This body is
благодаря
produced by the combined
совместным усилиям отца и
efforts
матери.
of the father and
Каждый
mother.
человек должен
Every human
сознавать,
being
что
should
он
be
в долгу перед
obliged
родителями,
to his parents
и что он
and
никогда не
understand
сможет
that he
отдать
cannot
этот
repay
долг.
his debt to them.
Если сын,
If,
повзрослев,
after growing
не
up, a son
пытается
does not
оправдать
try to
надежды,
satisfy his parents by
возлагаемых на
his
него родителями,
actions or by
или
an
одарить их
endowment
богатством,
of riches,
то после смерти
he
его
is
покарает
surely
владыка
punished after
царства
death
мертвых,
by the
и ему придется
superintendent of death
пожирать
and
собственную
made to
душу.
eat his own flesh.
Вот такая реакция.
That's one kind of
Это
reaction
можно
it is going to be.
читать в Гаруда Пуране, где подробно.
We can also read it about
Не
in
исполнение
Garuda Purana. If you do not follow
перед
your
родителями, перед Браманом, перед Богом, перед полубогами, перед соседями,
debt
много нарушений.
among demigods, about your parents and
Сложная
neighbors,
очень наука.
it's a very complicated science how to live this life without committing sins.
Ну, я бы сказал, сейчас, в данный момент, невозможно.
But I'd say right now, this moment is just impossible.
А в конце в Гаруде Пуране пишется интересная вещь.
But in the end, in Garuna Purana, a very interesting thing is
Там сложные
described.
обряды описываются. Из обрядов не выйти вообще. С утра до ночи нужно.
There are a lot of
чтобы вообще
yagas
выжить
described in there, like so complicated you cannot even follow them.
это можно достичь, просто воспевая святое имя Бога.
But in the end, it says that you can achieve all of
А
these
зачем все эти
just
сложные
by
обряды? Для кого?
chanting,
Если так все просто.
singing holy names of
Для
God.
славы.
But all these yagyas, what are they for? It's for the ones who seek for the glory. If you do not seek for the glory, you will not be accepted by the materialists. So you can become a great person.
Люди ищут славы, поэтому не могут
Because people are looking
славе
for
становиться.
the
Дают
glory.
такие обряды, чтобы они всё же продвигались
So
через
that's why they
это
follow
сложно.
all these rituals.
Всё проще.
But it's complicated.
Никаких сложностей от Бога мы
Everything
не
should be more
получаем.
simple. We don't get any difficulties from God, by the way. We create these difficulties by ourselves, by our material desires.
Суть человека, говорится, это
The essence of
главный его жизнь.
person, it is glory. That's what it says.
Но постепенно, когда мы очищаемся,
So eventually, when we get purified, we can realize what the real glory is. The real glory
Ложная слава увеличивает ложную.
is removing your false
Настоящая
ego.
слава, когда мы прославляем Бога.
The real glory, it removes
Она очень
your
чистая.
ego, false ego. It's very pure.
Преданный никогда не принимает нас.
It's kind of a transcendental glory. Devotees do not accept all the successes onto their own account. They're still like, no, it wasn't me, it's Krishna, I'm his servant. And that's how a pure devotee
Слава ослепнет.
stays clear, unalloyed
Если человек в
devotee.
состоянии заботиться о своих
If a person is able to care for or give
добродетельной
protection
жене,
to all
детям,
parents, a chaste wife,
духовном наставнике,
children, the
браманам,
spiritual
и
master,
всех, кто от него
brahmanas and
зависит.
other dependents, but
Но он не делает
does not
этого.
do so,
Он ничуть не лучше
he is
мертвеца,
considered already
даже
dead,
если он дышит.
although he's supposedly
Дорогие
breathing.
отец и мать,
My dear
мы
father and
всегда
mother,
старались уберечь
you've
нас
always been
от беды.
anxious for our
Но, к
protection,
сожалению, мы ничем
but
не могли
unfortunately we
вас
could not
отблагодарить.
render any service to
До
you.
сих пор,
Until now, we have simply wasted our time
ничего не могли
due
сделать
to
для вас,
reasons beyond our
и
control.
лишь попусту тратили свое
We
время.
could not serve you.
Интересная философия.
See, this philosophy is quite interesting.
И если мы не можем выполнить свой долг,
If you do not,
значит мы попусту тратим
Oh,
свое время.
if you cannot perform your debt,
Если
that
мы не
means
один- не
that we are
отдадим
just
долг,
wasting our
если
time in this
мы
life.
же родились
If we do
долг,
not pay
а
this debt back, it's like
не
karma.
рассчитаться с долгом,
If you do not pay it back,
живете попусту, говорится.
that's why you're just wasting your life.
Долг остается.
The debt still remains. It is still there. You have to pay it back.
Дорогие матушка и отец,
Mother and
простите
father,
нам
please
наши
excuse us for our
прегрешения перед вами.
sinfulness.
То есть мы не могли этот долг исполнить перед вами,
So
как
you
дети.
see, he's saying that we couldn't
Разлучены.
perform this debt
Вот из этих
because we were all separated. So when the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking as an innocent boy in very sweet words, Vasudeva and Devaki became captivated by parental affection and embraced him with great pleasure. They were amazed and could not speak or answer the words of Krishna, but simply embraced him and Balarama in great affection and remained silent, shedding incessant tears. So thus, having consulted his father and mother, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as the beloved son of Devaki, approached his grandfather Ugrasena and announced that Ugrasena would now be the king of the Yadu kingdom. Kamsa had been forcibly ruling the kingdom of Yadu in spite of the presence of his father, whom he had arrested. But after the death of Kamsa, his father was released and announced to be the monarch of the Yadu kingdom. It appears that in those days, in the western part of India, there were many small kingdoms ruled by the Yadu dynasty, Haka dynasty, Vrishni dynasty, and Bhoja dynasty. Maharaja Ugrasena belonged to the Bhoja dynasty. Therefore, Krishna indirectly declared that the king of the Bhoja dynasty would be the emperor of the other small kingdoms. So there was a kingdom of Bhoja, and Yadu they have become very powerful. Krishna has confirmed the power, but on the other hand, there was Hastinapur. So these politics will affect it. And that's why there will be the battle at the Kurukshetra battlefield. Hastinapur will be very political place, a place of a political arena. Kauravas and Pandavas, they'll be having a lot of arguments. So Krishna, he will have killed all the demons right before the even Kurukshetra battle, and there will be just only warriors left that will annihilate each other at the battlefield. So this was the plan of God, to set the earth free from all these demonic natures. Even Yadu will have to leave this planet. They were too powerful at this planet. So Krishna willingly asked Maharaja Ugrasena to rule over himself and Balarama because they were his subjects. The word Praja is used both for progeny and for citizens. So Krishna belonged to the Praja, both as a grandson of Maharaja Ugrasena and as the member of the Yadu dynasty. Thus, he voluntarily accepted the rule of Maharaja Ugrasena. So when Bhumi was praying to Brahma and Krishna gave her the answer, so he said that I would come, and all you demigods, you should come earlier than me to the Yadu dynasty. Ugrasena was one of them. So these were all superhumans. But even they couldn't deal with the demons without the help of Krishna. You see, this is a very subtle moment. It was shown in the politics of Hastinapur. Bhishma, Dronacharya, Yudhishthira, all the Pandavas, they couldn't handle Duryodhana and all these demons. So the animals, they were acting very confusing. They were kind of entangling dharma and adharma. Even Bhishma Dev could understand what was going on. So this is all described regarding Kali Yuga. Even Uttama doesn't know what to do. So this is the material nature. That's why it is said in Bhagavad Gita, so this material nature is very difficult to overcome. Even though you know laws and religion, you will get confused. It's very challenging. Even Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya and Kripacharya, Dhritarashtra, they had all been confused. Even Yudhishthira couldn't always understand what to do. He was just blindly following his dharma. So this is the material nature. That's why, dear devotees, do not be proud too much of chanting Hare Krishna. Only the one who surrenders to Krishna can get out of this material nature. So he says that I'm setting you free very easily. The ones who surrenders to me, to fight against the material nature without Krishna, impossible. Materialists are struggling against the material nature. They just destroy this world. Everything is getting destroyed. The air is terrible. You can barely breathe. There's no drinking water, only in bottles. You see, it's happening now in front of our eyes. Well, you are, as a new generation, you don't quite see it probably. As an elder generation. But you see here in Almaty, the water was just flowing down and we could drink it. This fresh water right from the mountains. There were no shops selling water. So I still remember that. It was in 1972. I used to drink this water and I liked it very much. You know, Almaty, there were a lot of fruit trees just falling down the road. Apples and pears, plums. That's why Almaty was loved by everyone. I just loved walking there among those trees, but those trees are dried up already. They're not there anymore. They're dead. So it is quite dangerous to have something to do with the material nature. But Krishna says that he controls this material nature because it is totally under his control. So these demigods, they were born in the Yadu dynasty. So now Krishna said that his grandfather would be ruling over right now. You see, Krishna is doing nothing, actually. So he only controls the material nature. How does he do it? No one can understand it. No one will be ever able to understand it. If you say there's no God who's controlling it, there's no controller then.
Проклятие Яяти, сказал Кришна у Грасени, не позволяет царям из рода Яду занимать.
So being cursed by Yayati, the kings of the Yadu dynasty may not occupy the throne. It will be our pleasure to act as your servants. My full cooperation with you will make. See, he was from Hoja, but there was a curse there. The curse of Yayati. It's in Bhagavatam, the 9th canto. So my full cooperation with you will make your position more exalted and secure, so that the kings of other dynasties will not hesitate to pay their respective revenues. Protected by me, you will be honored even by the demigods from the heavenly planets. My dear grandfather, out of fear of my late uncle Kamsa, who is dead right now, all the kings belonging to the Yadu, Vrishni, Anhaka, Matu, Dasara and Kuru dynasties were very anxious and disturbed. Now you can pacify them all and give them assurance of security. The whole kingdom will be peaceful. Well, but some kind of peaceful is relatively forming right now, not fully, of course, not yet. In order to set this peace, like more firm peace, then there will be castle in Dvaraka, and Krishna will have a lot of wives, and the demons will come down. So Krishna is doing whatever he wants, that's why these demons come down. Demons are just going crazy by his pastimes. What kind of religion is that? He's dancing with wives of other people at night. See, Krishna seems to be a saintly person. So Krishna has danced this Rasa Lila once, and now everyone hates him. They just don't understand. They can't understand who God is. They worship God, but they don't understand who He is. It's amazing.
Да, ну вот здесь мы остановимся, информации достаточно.
So I think there's enough of information for today. Now, questions, please. So we have our own auditorium today. All the major people of Jambu are here. So we have some people from Almaty as well. So the dynasty has come here from different provinces. There's a great political politician in here. We have a great politician here as well.
Нет, радуйтесь, конечно. Мы говорим, будьте осторожны. Не гордитесь этим, что вы, так вы будете чувствовать, что вы выше других.
So don't be too much proud of just being here. Do not think of yourselves being more elevated than all the other materialists. If you have already come to the name of Krishna, you are already not ordinary, but don't think of yourselves that way. Let other people think about you that way. When they say that to you, just close your ears. So there was an online communication with one of the Maharajas, and he was telling about Srila Prabhupada. He was talking parallelly, simultaneously about Krishna, about some other saintly people. It was totally amazing. So we got submerged. So we just lost the track of time. It was like we were in another dimension. So we entered this phenomenon. And in the end, this Maharaj said, I'm just an ordinary person. So this is the Krishna's consciousness. So this is the real devotion. I am Krishna's servant. Either I'm great or not, I'm not interested in that. The main thing is that I am Krishna's servant. So the king is not devoted to Krishna, but an ordinary street worker is a devotee of Krishna, then he is greater than this king. So experienced devotees, they know how to do it. So lotus is growing from water, but it doesn't get soaked. So all the success that you have in this life, just don't pay attention to that. You just continue serving. We cannot do anything perfectly. Even rendering devotional service. The service itself is pure. So you must be proud of being a servant of Krishna. I'm a servant of your spiritual master, of Guru Parampara. Material education, of course, gives a person an elevated position, but on the other side, this person might be totally fallen. It's okay when there's a balance, when there's a combination of a good education and high morality. So in this case, this person can be considered to be a highly educated person. It's okay when a person has an education, but if he's got a lot of bad habits, it's even worse in this case. It makes things even worse. A snake itself is already very dangerous, but decorated with a precious stone becomes even more dangerous. An uneducated rascal is one thing, but if this rascal is educated, that's even worse. So don't get into a trap. Of course, there's a debt before our parents. It does exist. But don't think that you have to gratify all the senses, like cook meat or bring some vodka. You don't have to do that. You have to organize your life the way when you can actually follow all these 4 principles, regulative principles. Of course, they might not understand what you're doing right away, but eventually it will happen. There are so many examples. At first, your parents are shocked. They think they have lost their children, but then in the end, they praise God. So everything is a consequence. So when king moves somewhere, everyone is following him. All these debts are realized in the Krishna's consciousness. For example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so he was supporting his family by working. He was a world judge, but he has paid his only 30 minutes of his personal time to his family a day. But this is very precious. Just by talking to such a person 30 minutes a day, you become a saintly person. The effect is totally different. It's another thing when we do it because we're not qualified enough. There's not enough of quality. So sometimes we just sit and understand that we lack of this spiritual power. The problem is not in aging or some other problems. The point is that we don't have this will of power. We become greedy. If the person is greedy, there's a problem. There's no will of power to serve God. If a greedy person is told that everything that he has belongs to God, he will not like it. Well, you say, of course, 10% for God, just not to go to hell, just in case, okay, at least 5%. But in Vedas it says that 100% of everything you have belongs to Krishna. At some point we have to understand it. Having all these riches, treasures, controlling everything, you have to understand that everything actually belongs to God. So that's how your duties are performed. If you are in Krishna's consciousness, so when we are given some trials in this life by Krishna, so for example, 16 rounds and 4 regulative principles is something that cannot be achieved by some other people. So first you have to create some special conditions for them to follow these principles. Some people they just cannot even follow it. You see, this practice does not suit for everyone else. But if we create these special conditions by our service, there will be more and more vegetarians, more and more people get into this. So they start having all this power, this will. But it happens eventually, not everything at once. You can't do everything at once. You already can do something. And this potency will come to you. The time is working for the devotees. So these 16 rounds is just the mercy of God. We also have to make an effort. Yeah, that's right. So sadhana, it's an effort, and kripana is mercy. If you don't have enough desire for that, just pray. Pray for the mercy of God. So what's happening in the place that you came from? In Japula? So how are people feeling? They get sick? No pandemic? No, everything's okay. We haven't been touched by it. There's no pandemic situation or nothing, no quarantine. You see, you have a very good karma. I think that's the only place in Kazakhstan where there's no quarantine. Just because you chant Hare Krishna, probably. Hare Krishna. So there's a conversation between the devotees and Guru Maharaj about spreading books, but it's very indistinct. So I've been to the place you've come from, but it was a long time ago. There were some devotees in there, but they used to move out. But now it's good that you have some yatras in there. So the Lord Chaitanya has come there as well. So, you know what we say, if you do not let someone into Krishna's consciousness through the door, he will come in through the window. So Madhyama Adhikari and Kanishra Adhikari, what's the difference? So what's the difference in both external and internal effects? There's no difference. The same 16 rounds, the same 4 regulative principles. Internal thing can be different because Madhyama Adhikari is performing sadhana bhakti thinking about Krishna. But the thoughts of Kanishra Adhikari sometimes can be confused, can be just flowing somewhere. He might not be so well concentrated. Even if he's listening to mantra, he might be not thinking of Krishna at the same moment. Even he's only doing it technically. He feels this mercy, of course. He's got some benediction already. He's got some elevated desires. But Madhyama is able to get this new knowledge. So intelligence, is it transferred into the next life where it gets destroyed? It doesn't get destroyed. Your subtle body,
разрушаются некоторые вещи,
So okay,
связанные
some
с телом
things are
физическим.
destroyed, of course, connected to the
Если
physical
интеллект
body. If your
связан с физическим телом только,
intellect is connected
тамаса
to the
будхи
physical body
называется,
only, it's called
это
tamasa
сразу
buddhi.
подвержено
So
разрушению.
this
Что имеется? Все,
intelligence
что связано
is
с телом,
prone to be
разрушается, и
destroyed.
эта память утрачивается.
Everything that is connected to the
Правда.
body will be destroyed, and
В
this
основном люди не
connection
помнят свою прошлую
is
жизнь.
lost. Usually
Тело
people do not
изменилось.
remember their previous lives because the body is changed.
Поэтому это вот тамаса будхи.
So it's called
Разрушенный
tamasa
разум.
buddhi,
Не
destroyed
помнит.
intelligence, the one
А
that
шуда
doesn't
будхи, он помнит,
remember
кто
anything.
я в
But
духовном мире.
Shuddha
даже может
Buddhi
осознать.
remembers who I am.
Мы начинаем с того, что мы
It's
должны
pure
помнить, что я
intelligence.
слуга Кришны.
We have to
Мы с
start
этого
from the
начинаем свою практику. Я слуга, и я должен практически это делать.
understanding that I'm servant of Krishna. I have to
Слушая о
remember
Кришне,
that, keep that in
служа
mind.
Кришне, я начинаю пробуждать вот эту память.
So serving to
Духовную
Krishna, I start
Тоже через разум.
awakening this spiritual memory,
Так же через разум.
also through
Вот
my
этот
intelligence,
разум не разрушается.
through my wisdom. So this
Да, в
intelligence
следующей
does
жизни
not
вы
get
можете
destroyed.
помнить.
Even in the next life,
Все ваши духовные как бы заслуги, они перенесутся вместе с
even in your
этим
next life, you will be
разумом.
able to remember all
Материальное
that.
тело и все, что
But the
связано с
material
этим,
body and everything that is
разрушится,
connected with
и
it
разум
will get
разрушится.
destroyed. And intelligence, wisdom, will forget everything.
Вот такая разница.
So that's the
Например,
difference.
Махараджа Бхарата
For example, Maharaja Parata,
привязался к оленю,
so he got very attached to a deer. He got incarnated into a deer,
потом еще раз переродился в
and
семье,
then again,
тоже
he
жизнь.
was born in a
Вот.
Brahman's life. So you see, his intelligence
Слон Каджета
wasn't
вспомнил свою
destroyed.
предыдущую жизнь человека.
An
Критический
elephant,
момент.
he was still
Даже
remembering
тексты
his life of a
молитв
person in
вспомнил,
his
как
previous
это.
life. He's even
Это
recalled the
духовный.
text of prayers he used to practice.
В материальном смысле люди все забывают.
In the material sense, people
Тамаса.
forget everything. This is tamasa buddhi.
Но на течение одной жизни развить разум с очень примитивного до очень
So during one life,
Это
Physical life.
не зависит.
is it possible to
Материального разума.
develop intelligence from a very low level
Другой
to
разум
the
материального
elevated
примитивный.
one? Material intelligence is
цели.
very primitive in its goals.
Он может быть очень как бы развитым в материальном плане.
It may be
Например,
very
животные,
developed in the
они
material sense.
разумнее человека в
For
каких-то
example,
аспектах.
animals, they are
Они
sometimes
тоже
more
разумны,
intelligent
просто
than
по-другому разумны.
people in some aspects.
Как они выживают и прочее.
So the way they
Наука
survive,
учится у животных.
other things. Science is learning from the animals
И у
actually.
них другой разум. Видите?
But the animals examples, they have
В этом смысле они разумны.
different
Есть разум, но у
intelligence.
них нет.
so in some cases they are
Смысла
more
выше.
intelligent. It's just they don't have this,
А вот
higher
этот разум
purpose.
параллельно развивается.
but this intelligence is developing
Предположим, у
simultaneously.
меня разум, скажем,
Say
управляющий.
my intelligence,
Природа вещей. Кшатрий, хорошо.
I'm kshatriya,
Он остается этим разумом гунакармы на всю
I'm
жизнь.
the manager. So I will have this,
Если я занимаюсь
my
практикой
entire
сознания
life,
Кришны, я развиваю параллельно.
and then
Духовный разум.
simultaneously I am developing this spiritual intelligence
Параллельно.
as well. If
Я
I'm in
остаюсь
Krishna's
кшатрием, тело
consciousness,
кшатрия, разум
so
кшатрия,
remain to be kshatriya,
навыки, привычки, все остается.
intelligence of kshatriya,
для
habits,
служения.
everything just
И
to serve.
параллельно духовный разум
and
знает, как
simultaneously
действует служение Кришне.
Spiritual
И вернется
intelligence knows how to
к
develop
Даме,
Krishna's
Путу, Йогам,
consciousness.
Йонамам, Паянки, Те. То есть Кришна дает вот этот разум.
So Krishna gives us another kind of
Как
intelligence,
вернуться к Богу? Вот это
just to
вот
how
изначально.
to come back to
А этот
God
разум
again.
может оставаться любым.
But this physical intelligence,
Шудра
it
или
may be
вайшья, или кшатри, или браман,
remaining
без значения.
different. Either it's a kshatriya, brahman, or shudra, whatever.
Скажите, пожалуйста, как реагировать на похвалу?
Explain, please, how to react when you're praised. You know, sometimes you can get a little bit shy. If you're a woman, you have to just cover your face with a handkerchief just to show you that you are a pure devotee.
На похвалу сразу
When
же
you are
вы
praised,
должны эту похвалу
well,
в сердце
first of
отправить
all,
духовному учителю.
right away you have to send this
Можете
praise to your
Радоваться
spiritual
тому, что вас
master.
хвалят за какие-то
Of
духовные
course, you
вещи,
may be
потому что
happy when you are
это
praised.
подтверждает, что у вас есть связь духовного чувства, что получается.
It confirms that you have this connection with your spiritual master.
То есть никак на свой счет не принимайте.
So please do not accept it on your account. Send it right away to your spiritual master. Sananda Maharaj and Yashoda, they have very close relationships with Krishna. What does it depend on?
Дело в том, что мы не
So
можем это
the matter
определить.
is,
Зависит.
It-
Послушай внимательно.
so
Не
listen
все
to me
желания мы
carefully.
знаем свои,
We don't know
поэтому мы не можем определить.
not all of our desires.
Вот в этой жизни я знаю, что мне нужна квартира.
For example, in this life, I know that I need to buy an apartment, a house, a car. So people just live on this level of their desires, but they do not know what's behind it. If they are given all this all, they will have some other desires. The more you are given, the more you want. But Krishna knows all about it. So that's why we have our own desires, and Krishna has his own desires. Of course, his desires are more elevated. There's nothing for him to wish for himself. He gives us these desires, but he's the best because he is God. He gives us the best desires. Sometimes we don't know all our desires. For example, if someone is told, "You want to be grass in this spiritual world?" You would say, "No." Maybe just a cow? No, I don't want to be a cow. Only gopi. Or a friend. This is our material understanding. So we'll approach it in a different way. Only when we see Krishna, we can guess approximately what I want. So when you see God, you say, like, I don't want to have anything. I just want this. I want to remember Krishna forever. So when Krishna reminds you about it, you will understand all your desires. So tell us please, what's benediction? What's the difference between modes of the mode of goodness that we practice sadhana bhakti in? So, sadhana bhakti can be performed in different gunas of nature: ignorance, passion, and goodness. So of course it's better to be performed in the mode of goodness. But what is this goodness mode? It is described in Bhagavad Gita. So you have to get knowledge first, knowledge of benediction. Until we see the all-perceiving nature of God, we are not in the mode of goodness. So we'll still have these conflicts. We are serving to Krishna. The altar, sadhana bhakti, the holy names of Krishna. Purana and Bhagavata Purana, they describe Krishna. So we have this impression that we are going straight to Krishna, but it's impossible. In this consciousness, we cannot even look at the sun directly, straightly. We don't have these senses. First of all, we have to feel it. We have to feel that God is all piercing, all pervading. Right after that, we can understand ourselves better. And this all pervading nature of Krishna, it's called Brahmabhuta, a joyous condition of Krishna. There's no remorse, no material desires. When he is happy to see all living entities, this is sattva. So don't think that just by waking up early in the morning you are in sattva guna. No. The time itself in the sattva guna. That's why we are telling you, wake up early in the morning, this is sattva guna. But it doesn't mean that when you wake up, say early, you are yourself in sattva guna. You can be still in tamaguna. For example, falling asleep. You may be cursing this early morning, like, oh my God, why am I doing it? I'd better have some more sleep. There's no humanity in that. Like waking up at 3:30, like this is really cruel. So where's sattva guna here? So while we are all
Понимаете, мы
protesting,
даже
while we have
встанем
this
сатва гуну, мы еще не
relationships
коснемся.
attitude, even though we wake up
Но
early
если
in the
мы
morning, doesn't
регулярно
mean we
это
are
делаем,
in this
практикуем через вот при помощи разума,
goodness
развиваем
mode.
свой разум в
But
воле,
if we practice,
силу определенную духовную,
if we develop
решимость
the
развиваем, вот
willpower,
тогда вот эта решимость
only
и
then
воля,
this
они нас поднимают
determination,
до гуны благости.
it wakes us up, or it elevates
Тогда вы
us
не только утром
to the mode of
просыпаетесь,
goodness.
просыпается ваш
So
разум.
then it's not only you who wake up,
То есть вы
who wakes
чувствуете
up in the morning, but also
решение,
your
вы не чувствуете
consciousness.
уверенно.
You feel happy.
Как ранние утренние часы, когда вы практикуете.
Only in these morning hours you can feel this bliss, this
Но
mercy.
пока мы спим еще, пока нам это трудно, мы просто боремся еще.
But while we are sleeping,
Это нужно пройти.
well, it's difficult for us. Yeah, you have to overcome it. It will take you some time.
Тот, кто отказывается, это слабость.
Someone that is refusing it, this is called the spiritual weakness.
Я не могу сам себе назначить, да, время пробуждения. Я не могу сам себе лекарства
So cannot
назначить, я не доктор.
assign this
Если
awakening
Прабхупада
time
говорит, что
yourself.
надо вставать рано утром,
But if
то
Prabhupada
как
says
нужно относиться
you have to
к
wake up
этому?
early in the morning, that means that Prabhupada is a doctor. You have to take it this way.
Скажите, пожалуйста, как понять, если ответы на вопрос приходят из сердца, это
So
значит,
how can I understand if the answers to my
Вопрос.
questions are coming from my heart or from my mind?
Ответ из сердца пришло. Ну, если так правильный ответ.
Well, if this is the right answer, then
Откуда
That's
бы
good.
пришел?
wherever it's coming from, it doesn't matter.
Кришна, вам правильно, нет? Если правильный ответ.
So what do you think? Am I
Не
saying
обидишься, что
correctly?
потом ответ
If the answer is correct,
Ну, не от Бога прям, но от
will you
Бога.
get offended? Even if it's coming from your mind?
А должны знать шастры тоже, как
They can know shastras as well.
проверять.
I have to
Потом
check it
сердце,
also,
ты можешь
double
сердце
check it.
почувствовать, что
And then you
человек
can
просто как бы
feel it
угадал.
with your heart.
Бывает, что
Then a
человек
person
вообще даже
had
не
given you the right
собирается
answer.
давать никаких.
Sometimes the person
Он
is
просто
not even
что-то
going to
рассказывает, и мы
preach,
получаем
to
ответ.
give you any instructions. Sometimes he's just telling something, but we get this answer somehow.
О, то, что мне нужно.
That's why, that's exactly when your heart is telling you that this is the right information.
Но на первом месте что должно быть? Наставление.
But instructions are supposed to be in the first place.
когда ты живешь в храме со служением, в нем все просто. Когда начинаешь жить за его стенами, включаешь
So when you live in the temple, everything is okay, but once you leave the temple, everything becomes complicated.
сохранить стабильное служение в храме.
So how can I
Есть
remain
места,
this
где есть
stable
храмы, есть места,
servitude?
где нет храмов.
Well, there are some places
Поэтому самое
having
важное,
temples,
когда
there
мы
are
в
some
храме,
places
самое
without any
важное это
temples.
общение с преданными.
Even when you are in the temple, you have to
Есть или нет такого
communicate with the
храма,
devotees,
но общение с
associate with the
Вайшнавами
devotees.
Сейчас у нас
Associating with Vaishnavas
онлайн
is
общения много, столько
the
возможностей.
most important thing. Now,
Книги
thanks to these
доступны.
technologies, we can have
Слабости,
these
раньше ничего
associations.
таких не было. Храмов в помине никогда не было.
See, back in town, there were no temples, no books.
Даже не все книги Прабхупады читали, уже проповедовали.
Not all the Prabhupada's books were even read
мы
back
общались.
then, but we were
А это общение
associating with
абсолютно
each other.
бесценно.
And I will remember this
Это было самое
association for
ценное.
my entire life. This was the most precious thing that we had.
Насколько допустимо преданному читать книги других ачарьев из Гаудия Матха?
Is it okay to read the books of other acharyas from
Ah.
Gaudiya Madhava?
Вопрос тонкий. Выберите традицию, пожалуйста.
So you have to choose your tradition, please, and follow just one tradition. While you're choosing, you can read anything.
Слушайте свое сердце, потому что Кришна вас, в конце концов,
Listen
направит.
to your heart, because Krishna eventually will
Вот. Но лучше это сделать с
direct
самого
you,
начала.
either to ISKCON or some other tradition, but it's better for you to choose in the
Потому
beginning,
что настроение искон отличается от
because
состояния
the
Гаудия Мата.
set of mind is different from the set of mind of Gaudiya Madhava.
Что
Let me
далеко
tell you
не
the
все
truth.
преданные, приходящие в искон, понимают, куда они пришли.
Not all the devotees coming to ISKCON
Это для них
understand
кажется одно и то
what
же,
they
что
had come
Гаудия
to.
Мат, что искон,
For
что
them it's the
другие
same.
вайшнавы, сампрадаи, другие, как бы они всё это не различают эти тонкости.
No matter what kind of tradition they choose, they don't even understand what they are.
Поэтому здесь, как бы,
So that's why
нужно быть внимательным.
you have to be attentive.
Не знаю, нужно ли дальше раскрывать эту тему.
I don't even know either I am supposed to
Ну, что я скажу? Хотите
tell
в
more
Мадху, идите
on
в
this
Мадху.
topic. If you want to go to
Ну, как
Madhya,
говорят христиане,
That's okay. You know what Christians say? If you're not married yet, don't get married. If you are married already, don't get divorced. If you've already decided to change this tradition, you have to first get blessings. Don't jump from one tradition to another just like a monkey. If you are a hesitating type of a person, it would serve no good to you. You have to dedicate your life to God, because it's just you're being afraid, you're hesitating, you cannot trust anyone. Of course, there are good devotees in Madhya, and ISKCON as well, but the purpose is that set by Prabhupada is the great mission. And I also advise you to render devotional service in ISKCON. If someone leaves Gaudiya Matha just because of the conflicts, such things, I can admit that ISKCON is still not a perfect organization, it's still developing, it's perfecting. That's why my advice is to try to understand the personality of Srila Prabhupada. If you understand him, it will help you to understand all these different traditions, directions. Why do they leave? Because of the conflicts? Conflicts are everywhere. Probably there's no organization, good organization. You're free, but here in ISKCON you have this organization. Even the spiritual masters are being controlled in ISKCON by ISKCON. You can't do whatever you want. That's what Prabhupada wanted. And then it has turned out that it's the right thing. Because we know these situations when Guru just falls down, he leaves ISKCON. So how do we then support the society? GBC. In Kali Yuga, there's not supposed to be just one leader. We have to cooperate. But if I take a look at the cooperation of Guru and disciple, there's no organization. It seems to be very simple. But it's not so. You have to learn how to do it. So organization is not only controlling, but it gives opportunity to do a lot of other things, like organizing some events. It helps you organize your spiritual life for the first time in history. So what Prabhupada used to say, unite the wealth of West and wisdom of East. And that's how you have this perfect balance. So do not hurry too much with your decision. Try to understand who Srila Prabhupada is. Do not just practice for yourself. Yeah, this is also a spiritual thing. I can go Narada Kund to Narada Kund or here or there. It's also connected with Krishna. But do not hurry too much with it. You can even elevate yourself higher, overcoming your pride. So that's why I cooperate with ISKCON. Of course, it's not perfect, but it keeps a lot of things together. The organization deals with the material aspects. And what does it mean? In Gita it says any activity has disadvantages, material disadvantages. If you are doing management, running a temple, not everyone will be satisfied everyone will be understanding it differently, taking it differently.
Это неизбежно.
This is inevitable. Every manager knows it. This is the hardest thing.
Поэтому в ведической культуре
So
все
that's why
менеджеры,
in
цари и
Vedic
так
cultures,
далее,
all the
были под
managers,
защитой
the
браманов,
kings, they were all
поправляли их и защищали.
by the support,
А браманы защищались кшатриями, наоборот.
by the
Говорили,
defense
во
or
классе
protection of
создавали
brahmanas. So these two
То же
classes
самое мы должны
that we're creating this perfect organization, the same thing we
Когда мы
have to do right now.
распространяем Кришну consciousness,
That's
без
how we can
организации
spread
невозможно.
Krishna's consciousness all over the
Знаете,
place.
почему
Without this
буддизм
organization, it's impossible.
распространился в Индии? Он
Do you
не
know why
распространялся в Индии
Buddhism
никогда. Никто бы не
got
понял,
spread in
что
India?
Царь Ашока поддержал организацию.
Because the king Yashoka organized it.
А почему
He
христианство
supported it, the
распространилось?
organization. And Christianity,
Царь Владимир поддержал.
because our king Vladimir,
А почему ислам
he
распространился?
supported it, and Islam,
Войны были, организация, конечно.
because there were some wars, the organization as well.
У нас нет войн, но организация есть. Тоже для
We have no
распространения.
wars, but the organization is here. It's very important.
Если вы хотите участвовать в такой миссии распространения сознания Кришны по
If
всему
you want to
миру,
spread Krishna's consciousness over the world, you have to stay in
нигде
ISKCON.
таких возможностей не будет.
You will not this.
И
You will
здесь
not have
очень
these
много
opportunities
людей
elsewhere.
распространяете воду
And you
Божью.
will have a lot of mercy here because you are spreading
Но он этого хотел.
the
Каждый
will
житель,
of
каждой деревни,
Lord
каждый
Chaitanya.
живет.
That's what he wanted in every village and every city and town.
Если вы скажете, но они несовершенная организация.
If you
я
say, but
соглашусь.
they're not a
Но
perfect
меня не волнует,
organization, I will agree with it, but
Прабхупада совершен, учение
it
совершенно,
doesn't
Кришна
worry me.
совершен, миссия совершенна,
I understand that Krishna is perfect, Prabhupada is perfect, the mission is perfect. If I concentrate on these things, everything will be fine.
Как узнать, что вожделение на уровне 36,6 градусов, ни больше, ни меньше?
Я дам градусник специально.
How do I know that my lust is at the level of 36.6 body temperature, not high, not lower? So I'll give you a thermometer.
Повышенная
measure
температура
it.
она доходит до бреда. Всех странные вещи начинают
An
говорить.
elevated temperature,
Чем выше
it's like
температура, тем
it's
больше
fever, it's delirious condition.
поступков у человека.
The higher the body temperature, the worse.
Бывает ниже вожделения.
Sometimes
Ниже 5 градусов. 36.
it comes down
Он
too
становится
low.
инфантильным,
This person, these people, they become infantile, not active, too passive.
ждет, когда скажут, что делать.
He's waiting till until someone says what to do, and even if he said what to do,
Это пониженное
he's
вожделение.
been reluctant.
Если мы понижаем вожделение,
If we lower
повышать прему.
our lust, we have to increase our
Если
prema.
вы подавляете вожделение,
If you
будет
just
проблема.
suppress lust, you will have some
То
problems.
есть вся наша борьба с вожделением это
All this
улучшение нашей
Fight
джапы,
against
воспевания,
lust. This is the
конкретное знание. Вот это.
improvement of our japa
Просто подавляя, вы будете либо
and
бредить,
servitude.
либо
If you
ничего
just
не делать.
suppress it, you will be
Либо вы
either in
захотите
delirious
мир
or you'll be doing nothing.
распространить, да, изменить, либо вы скажете,
Or you will
пропадите.
wish to change the whole planet,
Нестабильность.
or you will say like, oh,
Это все кама,
I don't want to do anything at all.
материальная энергия.
Just start being passive. This is material energy.
Тут трансформация, когда вы чувствуете вдохновение именно.
This is
духовное,
kind of a
когда
transformation when you feel
вы
inspired.
правильно говорите, правильно.
You act accordingly.
Когда есть возбуждение или разочарование, ни то, ни другое не является
If you have either
Или
lust or
разочарование,
disappointment,
Но когда
it's
вдохновение
not
чувствуете,
gonna serve you
вот
good.
тогда вы должны говорить,
Just when you
это
feel
хорошо, и люди будут слушать,
an inspiration, that's when you have to talk. People will feel it.
Это 36,6.
They will follow you. This is 36.6 of your body temperature. Is it possible to
Это хорошо.
practice in a mode of
Страсть это
passion?
хорошо. Это лучше, чем невежество.
it's better than in a mode of ignorance?
Невежество, ну, не приносит никакого
Ignorance does
полезного
not bring you
практически.
any,
Страсть приносит что-то.
useful result, but passion, it already brings you something.
Страсть, чем она хороша?
Passion is
Тем,
good
что она делает человека ответственным
that it makes a
за то, что он
person
делает.
responsible for what he is doing. More than in Tamas.
Там, если что, человеку
In
сделали
Tamas,
замечание, он обиделся, что
Ignorance, if someone tells you that you're not doing something good,
страсти человеку
you get
сделали
offended
замечание,
and you
он
leave this
обиделся,
place.
но не уйдет он.
In passion, you get offended, but you will not leave.
Понимает,
You'll be doing
что
it.
не очень хорошую вещь, не очень
he'll understand, okay, I've done something wrong and I have to improve it. And I aspire for the glory. If I do that, okay, I will be glorified, I will be praised, but we are combining it with the mode of goodness, with bliss. So now I know that I aspire for the glory. That's why I perfect myself, just to be revered by other people. But in Gita it says that all this respect of other people, it's not supposed to influence me. And then with time, your passion just burns out. You lose the interest to everything. It burns out. So the point is that never stop acting and listen to Bhagavad Gita. Act and listen to Bhagavad Gita. This is very important. This will purify you, but you will need some time. Passion has to burn out. The kings, they were ruling for the entire lives, but in the end of their lives, they would just retreat to forests. So you have to burn all this in your service. So probably, well, you will have different situations in your life. Sometimes it's glory, sometimes it's shame. Passion is the duality, the material duality. You will have to tolerate that all. So that's how you can achieve a very high happiness. So suppressing means that you give no possibility. So this is not natural. You have to control it, not suppress. Just when you render service, some service, it means that you control your senses. You use these senses, but to serve. In serving Krishna, so that's when it's called control. You don't suppress all these senses, feelings, lust. Of course, sometimes you have to suppress some things. If, for example, in your mind you have some sinful desires, you have to suppress them. This is intelligence. This is a normal thing. It's not traumatic. It's even better. It makes us all stronger. When a soul comes out of a physical body and moves into the spiritual world, does it still recall its physical body? So there are some people that go through regression, to get this memory back of the previous lives. There are some specialists, all these people that hope to be kings in the previous lives. They used to be good people, but when they learn the previous life, they curse the specialists and do not tell anyone what had happened in the previous lives. It happens a lot, very often. Yes. So Krishna transforms this memory, don't worry about it. So initially you didn't have anything except for your sincere desire. That's what Krishna had given you. From the very beginning, when I saw you in Bishkek, you started serving to devotees, probably not even understanding why you were doing it. You gave them everything, your car, your apartment, you had something in your heart. You knew about it yourself, because Krishna loves you. Sometimes you don't even understand what Krishna consciousness is. But I guess that you might have had already something in your previous life. When I looked at you, And then you started understanding some things.
Ты же хотел в прошлой жизни мир изменить.
So you wanted to change the world in your previous life? Well, I still want to do it. One of the devotees says.
Поэтому ты и получил такую профессию.
So that's why you got this profession.
Нужно больше знаний. Желания хороши.
So desires are good, but you need to have more knowledge.
Нужно больше знаний. Неважно, какая
You need to have more knowledge, no matter what profession you have.
Летают на самолетах.
Prabhupada says, you see, they fly planes, airplanes,
Если бы они больше изучили законы
having learned laws of physics. But if they had learned the law of physics, laws of physics, all of them, they wouldn't even have to fly in their airplanes. They could fly without airplanes. Now, if you see desires, if you have desires, you have to get more knowledge. So far, you just learning. You don't have enough knowledge to change the world, only the desires.
Но сейчас пока тебе не нужно тем методом делать, что ты делаешь. Я говорю, что пока ты это делаешь в невежестве.
Now you're doing everything in ignorance,
Чисто как
in a
профессионал.
definite ignorance. Just as a professional, you need
Не просто профессионал.
another knowledge.
Мы говорим о духовных знаниях, не
So we're talking about spiritual knowledge, of course. You have to develop them
Как повлиять на мир благотворно.
to get deeper knowledge. That's when you will understand how to change this world. So since you've given me the instructions back in Bishkek when I saw you for the first time,
А сколько лет ты читаешь Бхагавад-гиту?
how many years have you been reading Bhagavad Gita?
Минимум еще 5 лет нужно читать. Каждый день.
So you should be doing it for about 15 years.
Еще 5 лет добавь к садане. Хороший. Возможно, что-то серьезное проявится.
And probably something serious will come out.
Вот, но при этом ты опыт набираешь, ты же пытаешься что-то делать.
While you're reading Bhagavad Gita, you're getting your experience, your life experience.
И неудачный опыт тоже нужен.
Also, bad experience is also needed,
Хорошо,
unsuccessful
спасибо.
experience. Okay, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.